Welcome back to Boring Go. Today I'll recap the action-packed sci-fi thriller film, In Time, spoilers ahead. Please proceed with caution. Set in the future, humans have been genetically altered to cease aging at 25. However, they have a catch: after reaching 25 they only have 1 year left to live. Their remaining time is displayed on their forearms, and time has become the world's currency. In this dystopian society, the wealthy can live indefinitely while the poor struggle to make ends meet, living paycheck to paycheck. Our protagonist Will wakes up and realizes he has less than 24 hours left. He meets his mother Rachel, who is celebrating her 50th birthday. Their joy is short-lived as they discuss their financial struggles. Rachel reveals she has only 3 days left, reminding Will of the bills and loans they need to pay. Will assures her he will find the money. Rachel informs him that she will be away for 2 days to work and asks him to meet her at a bus station to give her more time. She gives him 30 minutes to have a decent lunch and kisses him goodbye. On his way to work, Will encounters a young girl named Meyer. He generously gives her 5 minutes and sends her away with a smile. At work he meets his friend Boral, and they toil at a factory producing time storage devices. After a long day, Will confronts the distributor about his inadequate payment, but the distributor explains that the quota has increased and Will fell short. Later, Will encounters some men at a bar who invite him to gamble, but he declines, reminding one of the men that he owes him an hour. Will collects the hour owed to him and meets Boral, who is drunk, and points out a man named Henry who possesses over a century of time. Will notices someone observing Henry and warns him, but Henry refuses to leave. A group of menacing men enters the bar and chaos ensues. Boral urges Will to leave, but Will insists on staying to observe. He assures Boral he won't do anything reckless, and Boral reluctantly departs. Fortis, the leader of the gang, demands Henry's time and offers him a chance to fight for it. Henry, feeling fatigued, retreats to the bathroom and vomits while a Minuteman keeps watch. Will bursts in, incapacitates the Minuteman, and rescues Henry. Will and Henry flee with Fortis and his men giving chase. They manage to escape, finding refuge in an abandoned building after scaling a gate. The Minutemen search the area but eventually give up when one of them recognizes Will. Will and Henry bond, and Henry reveals the dark secrets of their world. The rich intentionally inflate the cost of living to keep the poor dying, thereby accumulating more time for themselves. However, there is enough time for everyone if greed and the desire for immortality didn't blind the rich and powerful. Henry asks Will what he would do if he had the same amount of time. Will responds that he would not waste it as Henry has. These words resonate with Henry and they rest. The next morning, Henry selflessly gives almost all of his time, leaving only 5 minutes for himself, which he bestows upon Will while he sleeps. Will wakes up and discovers he now possesses over a century of time. He searches for Henry and finds him sitting on a bridge. As Henry's final seconds tick away, he falls into the river with a smile. Meanwhile, Will visits Boral and learns that Boral has died due to alcohol poisoning. Greta, Boral's wife, holds their newborn baby, and Will shares the events of the previous night with her. Determined to bring justice to their world, Will gives Greta some of his newfound time. Rachel pays a loan but finds herself unable to afford the bus fare due to rising prices. Desperate, she starts running, racing against time. Despite their efforts, Will and Rachel fall short, and Rachel dies in Will's arms mere seconds away from the life they longed for. Will now possesses an abundance of time, but his mother has none. The next day, timekeepers recover Henry's body from the river, and senior timekeeper Raymond, accompanied by his junior Jigger, investigates the scene. Before leaving, Raymond notices a camera on the bridge. Will, now donning a new suit and a determined expression, departs the time zone that separates social classes, paying toll fees as he crosses multiple borders. The final border costs him a year and he arrives in the affluent city of New Greenwich. Upon his arrival, a driver questions his true intentions for coming to New Greenwich, to which Will responds that he aims to make the people of New Greenwich pay. The stark contrast of the city's opulence from his own experience is evident. Will enters a hotel and requests a suite. As he wakes up in his luxurious room with over a century of time, he wrestles with the haunting memory of his mother's untimely death. For the first time, he indulges in gourmet food and pays generously, tipping the waitress a week's worth of time. The observant waitress notices Will's behavior is different from others, remarking that he does everything a little too quickly. Will cheekily replies that he doesn't rush through the things that matter. Will plans to visit a casino but decides to change his attire first. In the Timekeeper's headquarters, they come across surveillance footage of Will. Jigar reports his activities and Raymond reveals his familiarity with Will's father. Will engages in a poker game at the casino where he meets Philippe, a billionaire with an extensive amount of time. Will's winning streak amasses over 2 centuries of time, impressing Philippe, who increases the stakes by 50 years. Confident in his abilities, Will calls the bet, leaving himself with only 30 seconds on his timer. The outcome favors Will and he acquires a millennium of time. Philippe's dull life is invigorated by the thrill of the game. Philippe introduces Sylvia, his daughter, to Will and invites him to a party. Will, using his winnings, purchases a new car and drives to Philippe's mansion. There he meets 3 generations of women who resemble sisters, feeling out of place among the upper class. Sylvia comes to his rescue, saving him from a lonely night. They connect and get to know each other, eventually dancing together. As they grow closer, Sylvia opens up about her meaningless life, expressing how the abundance of time has become a burden instead of a blessing. Meanwhile, Philippe and his wife watch Will and Sylvia with suspicion. Will and Sylvia, seeking privacy, escape to the beach, undress, and immerse themselves in the ocean. Their intimate moment is interrupted by a call from the shore. Returning to the mansion, they discover that Philippe has noticed their attraction. Philippe reveals Sylvia as his daughter and she invites Will to accompany her to a party. They share a passionate kiss before parting ways. In Philippe's office, he confers with his partners, assuring them that he did not pay the ransom. However, they doubt his ability to resolve the situation. Raymond enters the room, cutting off Philippe's explanation. Raymond informs Philippe that his daughter refuses to be rescued, citing her actions as Stockholm Syndrome. Raymond plans to arrest Sylvia, but Philippe attempts to bribe him with his time. Raymond remains uninterested and departs. The following day, Will teaches Sylvia how to shoot a gun. They discuss Will's plan to give time back to the people. Sylvia offers her assistance in acquiring the necessary time. They execute a heist, stealing time storage devices from a local loaning establishment. They encourage the borrowers to take as much time as they need, and the borrowers flock to them. Will provides time to Greta Meyer and the timeline distributor who had previously helped others. Fortis, the leader of the mini-team, and continues to terrorize and kill for time. He notices a reward for Will and Sylvia's capture. Meanwhile, Philippe watches news coverage of his daughter's ongoing attempts to defy him. That night, Raymond and the Timekeepers surround the motel where Will and Sylvia are staying. The couple jumps out of a window to escape. Raymond pursues them through the streets and alleys, leading to a rooftop shootout. Will and Sylvia manage to board a bus, losing Raymond momentarily. However, Raymond is determined and eventually catches up. In a thrilling confrontation, Will and Sylvia crash their car while evading Raymond's pursuit. Fortis and his men close in on the injured couple. Fortis drains Sylvia's time, but they escape, leaving her with only 30 minutes. Will gives Sylvia a few minutes before they race to replenish their time. With only 3 minutes remaining, Will visits Boyle, but Greta informs him of Boyle's death due to alcohol poisoning. Panicked, they spot Sylvia's earring and they rush to a jewelry dealer to trade it for more time. Desperate, they hide as Timekeepers approach. They navigate the city discussing Sylvia's family business and the immense wealth they possess. Will inquires about their worth, and Sylvia reveals it to be so substantial that knowing the exact amount becomes inconsequential. Will contacts Raymond and proposes a deal. Philippe must transfer 1,000 years of time to the ghetto city in exchange for Sylvia. Raymond warns him about the potential consequences, but Will persists. They part ways, with Will giving Raymond some time. Sylvia settles into Will's apartment, and they talk about their shared challenges and the risks they face. Despite the danger, they cherish the time they have spent together, feeling more alive than ever before. The next morning they observe if Philippe fulfills his end of the deal. Disappointed by his failure to transfer the time, Sylvia is determined to no longer return to her father's monotonous life. Will accompanies Sylvia to a phone booth where she contacts her father and confronts him for his betrayal. While she talks, Will remains unaware of Raymond, who approaches him with a gun. Just in time, Sylvia shoots Raymond and Will disarms him. Will chooses not to take Raymond's remaining time and allows him to live. Will and Sylvia flee in Raymond's car and they drive off together. During their escape they encounter a police barricade, but their vehicle sustains minimal damage. Determined, they continue driving until they reach the ghetto, where they find temporary safety. Raymond, unwilling to give up, pursues them relentlessly. They collide in a climactic confrontation on the road, engaging in a battle of wits and skills. Raymond realizes they share a similar background, but Will's determination prevails. As they converse, Raymond's time runs out and he dies. Will and Sylvia desperately search for ways to replenish their time. Spotting Raymond's car, they race toward it and Will retrieves his time. He then reunites with Sylvia, who has seconds left. In a heart-pounding moment they meet just in time, but succumbs to his own mortality. Will confronts the daunting task of replenishing their time, but Sylvia offers a glimmer of hope. They race to Raymond's car with seconds ticking away. Will retrieves his time and rushes to Sylvia, meeting her just in time to reset their timers. With renewed determination they embrace each other, ready to face the challenges that lie ahead. The people continue to defy the oppressive system, and the film concludes with Will and Sylvia's unwavering resolve to bring about change in their world. Remember to subscribe for more videos, turn on notifications, and leave a like to support the channel.